Hi guys, my name is Chloe, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the darkest and most wholesome books that I've read. So recently I haven't really been doing a lot of reading. I don't think I'm in a reading slump though, because I do want to read. I just don't have the time to read because I'm so busy with my studies at the moment. And so instead recently I binged two TV series on Netflix. The first one being Squid Game, and then I went on and watched all of Heartstopper. And so because of this, and because that's what I've been up to recently, and both of them were so intense and they've stuck in my head for very different ways, I've decided to talk about some of the books, some of the darker books that I've read that I've made an impact and I sort of like remember, or they've made me feel kind of weird, and then some of the most wholesome books that I've read that just make me smile, or they're just magical and wonderful, and yeah, amazing. So that's what I've decided to do today. These are books that I haven't read for a while, so I'm going to try and give a synopsis where I can, but mostly I'll be just talking about why they are one of the either darkest or most wholesome books that I've read, and yeah, what I remember most about them really. I do have 3 books for each category, and so I will talk through them now. So we're going to start with the darkest books first, since I watched Squid Game first, and yeah, so the first book on this list is Royale by Koshin Tekani, and I feel like this one kind of fits the theme of Squid Game anyway, because this one involves a load of school kids, I think they're in high school, who have been told they're going on this school trip, and when they get in this school bus they are knocked out by this gas and taken to this island where it is revealed that they must fight to the death, and only one of them can escape this scenario. This one was really good. It was on one of my top 10 books of last year. It's gory, it's fast-paced, even though it is massive. It really didn't take me long to read this book because I just wanted to know what happened to these characters as they went through this ordeal. It was horrific in places, and you started to get attached to some of the characters, which is really a bad idea because they just end up dead. And yeah, it was really good. This one's on this list because I just really remember the scene. There's not really spoilers, it happens initially when they first arrive on this island. They're in this classroom, and I don't know if it's their teacher or the person in charge of this scenario is talking to them and letting them know what's going to happen, and that they're going to fight to the death. And obviously they don't take it seriously, they don't think he's telling the truth. And then the first kill happens. It happens in that room by one of either the guards or him. I can't quite remember, it's been a while. And just the twist, just that feeling of like, oh no, this is actually real and this is actually happening, and just seeing those characters realise that, yeah, it was just really dark. And this one reminded me of the, if anyone has watched it, the first game that the characters play in Squid Game, Red Light, Green Light, and at first they don't believe they're going to be killed, they think they're going to be eliminated, so just lose like you would in a game. But just that realisation when that first death happens, and then everyone's like, oh no. And yeah, that's why this one is on my list. The next book is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This one, I also don't remember too much about the plot, but I just remember it being really graphic and gory, and some of the scenes have like stuck with me. So if I remember correctly, this one is about a group of final girls who have each been in their own horrendous massacres previously. So they were hunted down by their killers, and yet they have survived this ordeal. And yeah, a support group is set up for them where they can discuss what's happened to them before, because they have this in common and they're more likely to understand each other. And I did like, in this book we got to see how each of the different girls like dealt with what they'd gone through in the past. So like our main character, she gets really into security and locking up her flat, and she refuses to go certain places and is really like strict like that. I think one of the girls gets involved with charity work, so helping girls and young children, I think on a campsite, where she can help them that way. One of them goes on to produce a movie about their massacre in the past and what happened to them, and become a celebrity basically. So that was really interesting. But yeah, throughout this book you do get flashbacks, especially for the main character, I've forgotten her name, to what happened to her in her house. Yeah, we get to see what happened to them in the past and how it contrasts with what they're living through today. And yeah, this one was just really, I wouldn't say scary, but I don't know, it just made me feel really, really uneasy. And even more so when it turns out that one of these girls ends up murdered from the support group, and they all have to work together to find out who's killing them off, because they'd thought they'd escaped their killers in the past, and now it's all coming back to them and they're terrified. And yeah, it was great. I wouldn't necessarily say this one is a horror book. I'd say it's on borderline horror thriller. I'd still say it's definitely more of a thriller. And overall, I think I enjoyed this one. I think I gave it 4 stars. I think I was slightly disappointed with the ending. But yeah, overall, just a very, very dark book, and I definitely need to read more from Grady Hendrix in the future. So the last of the darkest books is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now this one is the one that I remember the least about because it's been the longest since I've read this one. But this is a dark academia, and we follow Alex Stern, who has survived a murder. I think she was the only survivor of a murder that went on either in her dorm room or her house. I think her friends died or something like that, but she survived. And since then she's been offered a place at Yale, which I think is the university, and she's been tasked with monitoring the secret societies. And these societies have well, they're quite dark. They practice like occult magic and stuff like that, and there are rituals and dark stuff going on. So that was really creepy and interesting. But also our main character Alex can see the dead, so she can see ghosts, and this was really creepy. And like I said, I can't remember much of the plot of this book, I just remember really enjoying it. There's a murder on campus, and she is tasked, and she wants to find out who's killing these people, and it helps that she can talk to the dead, so she gets some of her answers that way. But yeah, whilst I couldn't remember much of this book, I don't know if it's the opening chapter or like one of the opening scenes has just really stuck with me. It really made my like stomach turn a bit. It was like, I don't know, it was just very vivid. Like it felt like I was there in the room, just the way the scene was described and stuff. And it's the bit at the beginning where she goes to one of these societies, I guess not rituals or like, I don't know. She attends one of the society's meetings, and I think they're doing a autopsy or some kind of surgery on this corpse on the table in like some kind of theatre, and Alex is there, and the smells and stuff like that's described, and then you also get her seeing I think it's ghosts in the audience as well, who have been there before and are now dead, just trying to creep out and crawl out, and it was just really, really creepy. I need to read it again because I can't remember the rest of the book, but I will probably do that when the sequel comes out, because that one I think is this year. So I will definitely be giving this one a reread. But yeah, really dark, really paranormal, dark academia. I would really recommend it. So now moving on to some of the most wholesome books that I have read, and I have gone for The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. Now the obvious one I guess would have been House in the Cerulean Sea by the same author, but whilst I did enjoy that one, I gave it 3 stars. I preferred this one so much more. It just lined up with all of the things that I enjoy. And that might just be because I'm a massive Marvel fan, and that might play into why I like this book. But so in this book we follow Nick, and he is a massive fanboy for the hero, I think Shadowstar, and he has a massive crush on him, and he even publishes his own fan fiction about this hero and makes up stories about what's going on. But yeah, this one is just really funny and cozy, and Nick's interactions with his friends are great, and yeah, it's LGBT, so that's always good. And yeah, I don't know, it just gives me the vibes that Spider-Man Homecoming gave me, just really dorky, quirky, funny, but there are still some dark and serious moments in there. Not dark as like the books I've just discussed, but some twists and turns that really punch you and hurt just a little bit, but mostly it's just a really good time. Superheroes, adventure, Nick being a massive nerd. I love. So the next one is actually a self-published book, and this is The Hunger Pangs True Love Bites by Joy Demora. This one is a fantasy / paranormal romance, I'd say, between a vampire called Vlad and a werewolf called Nathan. So I think, like I said with these books, I don't remember too much about the plot. So Vlad, I think, hires Nathan as his guard to defeat this dark evil or curse which is spreading through the land, and he doesn't want this destroying his citizens who work for him or his castle, stuff like that. Something is going on. And when Nathan turns up, he quickly is very good at his job and knows what to do. And yeah, Vlad sees him, and immediately there's a spark between them, which he didn't expect. He didn't expect to fall in love with the werewolf. But yeah, they have to team up and battle this darkness. There are other characters as well. I don't remember her name, but the character on the cover here, she's a witch as well. And there's a chance that it's going to turn into some kind of polyamorous romance. I have to see in the second book whenever that comes out. But yeah, this one, even though it's a paranormal romance, it's definitely not creepy at all. It's just cozy and warm, and yeah, it's just really, really good. I would definitely recommend this one, especially since I haven't seen it recommended on BookTube before. It is a bit chunky, but yeah, really good. And another thing to mention, this version is the original version, so there are some steamy scenes in there, but the author has also published a version which is I think called Fluff and Fangs, so those scenes are just completely gone and they fade to black for if you don't enjoy that, and it just makes it all the more wholesome, I guess. But I like it with the steamy scenes, and it's a really good read. And the last book that I'm going to talk about today is Nevermoor by Jessica Townsend. This is just the first book in the series. I have read the first 3, I think, the ones that are out. And yeah, and this one is a middle grade. And yeah, it's probably my current favourite middle grade at the moment. Possibly. I haven't reread Vampirates yet, so we'll have to see, but currently I think this is my favourite middle grade series. So in this one we follow Morrigan Crow, and she is a cursed child, and so she is told that she will die on her 11th birthday. And because of this, her family treat her poorly and believe that everything going wrong around them is caused by Morrigan because she's a cursed child. So this just makes her very depressed and just, I don't know, she just wants to leave them and have nothing to do with them. But then one day Jupiter North appears and whisks her away to the magical city Nevermoor, and where she undertakes a competition to gain a place in the Wondrous Society, and she needs to get a place there in order to stay in Nevermoor and not go back to the real world where real world? I don't actually know if it's a different world or just a different place, but so she doesn't have to go back home to die on her 11th birthday. Going to Nevermoor completely stops this. And yeah, I really, really like this one. This one's kind of got a competition sort of thing going on, which is something that I like. I don't remember if it's this one, but book 2 definitely goes more into sort of a magical school setting, which I love. But yeah, I just get those Harry Potter vibes without feeling like Harry Potter is something new and refreshing and still makes you feel magical and is great. Shout out to Finestra, who's a giant talking cat. She's great and sassy. Really liked her. And yeah, you just get to see Morrigan going through this world and learning everything as we do, and making friends and friendships, and yeah, it's really great. I'm definitely going to reread this series before, I think the new one comes out in October, so I will be picking this one up again soon and I can't wait. So those were all the books I'm going to talk about in today's video. So like I said, they're ones that I haven't read in a while, so then the plots aren't too fresh in my head, but hopefully I've shown why they're either some of the darkest books or some of the most wholesome books that I've read recently. I would love to know if you have a book that would fit either of these categories. I'm always looking for either really dark or really wholesome reads. It really depends on my mood and what I'm going to pick up. But yeah, be interested to see what you guys think. If you've read any of these or want to read any of these, let me know. And yeah, that's all for today, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!